Secretary of State Antony Blinken is testifying on Capitol Hill for the second day in a row. Yesterday, he testified before the Senate on the president's $64 billion foreign affairs budget proposal. Today, Blinken is speaking at a House Appropriations Subcommittee hearing on the State Department's 2025 budget. And it all comes amid a deep divide in the country over funding for Israel. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the latest from Capitol Hill. Jay, the House is controlled by Republicans. The Senate is controlled by Democrats. So do you expect a different focus in the House hearing than yesterday?
Yeah, certainly in Blinken's hearing later this afternoon, there are some House Republicans who have already said they have some pointed questions for the secretary. They have deep disagreements with this administration's approach to how it's handling the Israel-Hamas war, particularly that decision the administration made a little while back to withhold the shipment of some 2,000-pound bombs, massive armaments, to Israel over concern that those bombs would be used in Israel's military operation in Rafah, that city in the south of Gaza, home to more than 1 million Palestinian refugees. There are Republicans who have deep disagreements with that decision and, frankly, some anger over that decision. But they sit on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, which is going to talk to Blinken a little bit later on in the day. Right now, in this earlier hearing in front of the Appropriations Committee, we haven't seen much drama. And one notable thing that we haven't seen is we haven't seen Blinken interrupted by protesters the way he was when he spoke with the Senate yesterday. Protesters who called Blinken a war criminal, Diane.
And Jay, yesterday the Senate, by the Foreign Relations Committee, questioned Blinken about a range of topics, but the Israel-Hamas war dominated that hearing. He also attended another subcommittee hearing after that. So what came out of these hearings?
Well, the two headlines that really came out of that were there were Republicans in the Senate who pushed Blinken on that withholding of those 2,000-pound bombs and questioned whether or not the administration would make further decisions like that if they disagree with other kinds of Israel military policy. Blinken said that what they did was in line, in his view, with what the administration should be doing, which is giving Israel the kinds of munitions it needs to go after Hamas, but withholding those munitions if they're going to be used in that military offensive in Rafah, which the administration has some disagreements with. There was one point of agreement, though, in yesterday's hearing, and it'll be curious to see if there's also agreement with that in the hearing this afternoon, which is that Democrats, Republicans, and Blinken all agreed that they oppose that move made by the International Criminal Court to seek an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for alleged war crimes. Blinken called that decision by ICC prosecutors wrong-headed. Diane.
All right, Jay, Ireland, Norway, and Spain all say that they would recognize a Palestinian state to create peace in the Middle East. Do you think Blinken could address that during the House hearing today?
He talked a little bit about the idea of a two-state solution yesterday. He's expected to talk about it more today. That move by those three nations, obviously largely symbolic. And the thing that Blinken has said is that the Biden administration supports a two-state solution, but only if Hamas is not in control of that Palestinian state, that there is another governing authority governing Gaza that is not Hamas. Hamas has been the governing authority in Gaza for quite some time. That's the Biden administration's position, and you can expect Blinken to reiterate that today.
Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill, thank you.